Welcome, and we're here with Mafikizolo, and we're doing a very short talk with them as they're here for Kwitizina ceremony in a news bulletin. We want to know what their perception is regarding conservation and much more on what they're going to be doing here in Rwanda, particularly for the Kwitizina ceremony. You're very welcome.
Thank you for hosting us.
How do you feel to be here in Kigali?
It's always a pleasure. This is not our first time, so we know the food. We've tasted the food before, so we know how the food tastes. We know a little bit about the culture. We also had an opportunity, I think it was a year back or 2 years back, to learn about the history.
Yes.
Where we go to learn more about the history of Rwanda. And amazingly, this is one of the countries that has given us an opportunity to learn about their history. I mean, we've been traveling all over the continent, but we never had an opportunity to, learn more about the history of that particular country. So Rwanda has given us an opportunity to, get to know them beyond, music and everything that we do.
True. So how has history, the Rwandan history, sort of like impacted, or what lessons did you learn from it? Because it wasn't just about information.
The biggest lesson is forgiveness. I learned through the Rwandans how important forgiveness is, and that forgiveness is possible. And people think that when somebody has done something horribly bad to you, you can never forgive them. But I've seen that with my eyes, and I'm like, people are living lovingly and happy and peacefully after everything that has happened. And I believe that it has actually brought everyone together, so that is one thing that I think I would say I've learned about the people of Rwanda, which is really, really amazing. And I think, a lot of people can learn a lot from that. South Africans, actually, any person around the world, that forgiveness is important, and it plays a very, very big role in one's life.
Rwanda is known as the only country in the whole world that still has the largest number of mountain gorillas. And not only that, it is the only country that does gorilla naming, Kwitizina. What's your take when it comes to Rwanda and having this unique way of conservation, of which they even get to a point of naming baby gorillas?
Conservation is very important, and I'm very happy that countries like Rwanda still preserve nature, and conservation plays a very, very important role in the country, and it's important that young people also get the opportunity to learn about conservation, because they are the future generation, and they are the ones who needs to continue to preserve the culture, the conservation. I mean, nature is such a beautiful thing, and we're very excited that, when we came here for the first time, they would say to us, what Rwanda is mainly known of, and they will teach us more about, the gorillas, and it's so important that, even generation to come will still remember, that wildlife is very important. Instead of us destroying trees and air pollution and all those things, it's very important for the generation to come. And it teaches other neighboring countries as well, including our country, South Africa, how important it is to, sit on and preserve our conservation. We've got, wildlife in Africa, and God has blessed us with beautiful, nature. It's very sad that we go through in South Africa, one of our biggest animal that is in South Africa, and it might be destroyed is the rhino. We need to preserve the rhino. I think if they could do the similar thing, naming the rhino, teaching people about how important to keep nature and culture is very important. So we as Mafikizolo, we feel very honored that we are at the celebration of one of the biggest, event. It is not just a performance, but we are partaking in the history, of conservation in Rwanda, and we feel very blessed and honored to be performing on the particular day.
Not just about performance, you you know, you're naming a baby gorilla. What's the name of the baby gorilla, and what does it mean to you?
Well, we were given a couple of names, but we loved Ichiza, which means to be good. And like I said earlier, that is the spirit of the Rwandans. You know, I feel like when I'm here, people are good. You know, even when we get here, the reception is amazing. From the airport, you know, into the hotels. The people, you know, have beautiful hearts. And I think for myself, that's what, you know, I think made sense for me in terms of choosing the names. I mean, all the names that we were given were amazing names, but this is the name that I got drawn to because of the, you know, the natural goodness of the Rwandans and how they are just welcoming. Yeah.
So once again, we're coming to an end of this brief interview. I just want to get one or two messages from either of you, and just give a message to Rwandans in terms of conservation. You've said much, but just a brief message that one can take home.
I would definitely echo Theo's words that it's really, really important. You know, these gorillas are the legacy of Rwanda, and therefore they need to be preserved, they need to be taken care of. And I love the fact that, you know, they're still out there in nature and they're not captured, and they're still out there in the mountains and living freely. I love that about that, and it's important to keep it like that. You know, it really plays a big part of the Rwandan history. So let's preserve it, let's take care of it.
Thank you very much for being with us in this news bulletin and of course in this brief interview. Thank you.
You're welcome.